Thank you.
My name is Liz Agboola. I am a graphic designer and digital artist. I schooled at Obafemi Awolowo University, and I studied education biology. So I did study graphic design. So yeah, that's the basic backstory for now.
All right. So let's just get started talking about
Mm-hmm.
procrastination and what you have planned for us.
Okay, so I'm going to give a little backstory to this session. It took me about it took me about 2 months to decide a topic for my Asha session. Actually, it took me a day, but I took 2 months to get a topic. And then looking at how long it took me, or how long it took for me to decide on what I wanted to teach or what I wanted to talk about, I just decided, hey, why not talk about how long it took you to get a topic? So hey, talk about procrastination. So that's how my topic came about, basically. And I understand that as humans, it's something that we struggle with. It's something that we have to deal with, especially as creatives. I mean, everybody has probably had that issue of Nigerian fashion designers where they tell you, I will soon be done with your clothes, or God, I will send it. But then your event passes and then you still don't get your clothes. So yeah, stuff like that.
That's very interesting to hear. Like, so I bet this is going to be very, very power packed, and I can't wait to listen to everything you have to share with us.
Yeah. Okay, so I will get into it straight away. Like I said, for people that are just joining, I'm a graphic designer and digital artist. I began designing in 2016. I learned design in school. My first introduction to design was in 2015, where I learned Corel Draw and basics of design. But I eventually took design as work in quotes in 2016. So during that period of time, I had to deal with procrastination like mad. There's some people that are born executors that when they get plans or when they have work to do, they just get straight to it and they get it done. But then there are some of us, the special few, that it takes a lot of energy and effort for us to get up and do our work. So I had a lot. In fact, procrastination was practically my best buddy. Like we're just G's. We're always there together. I slacked on deadlines. I delayed. I postponed work. At a point in time, of course, at that time, it made me somebody that could not be dependent on. In terms of designs, I mean, I had an association that was in then, and they would need designs, and then they'll tell me, okay, we need this design by Tuesday, and Tuesday will come, and I will say with my chest that I'd not done the design, and then I was going to send it later, and later would come, and I still won't send until maybe the person confronts me. I say, how often I'll send this stuff. So I lost work over that. I lost should I say trust, in the sense that the clients just say, I expected more from you. I was expecting that this design would have come in and stuff like that. So it was a bad period in that sense. So I had to carefully observe what it is that was going on and decide for myself that, hey, since you're going to take design as work, you're not going to be teaching anybody biology anywhere. So you really have to take this thing serious and work on what's killing you. So back to my topic, the theme about procrastination. Now, all of us must have heard a thing or two about procrastination. I mean, when procrastination was dealing with me, when we were G's, I felt like procrastination is the bad guy. That procrastination is the bad habit that I needed to deal with at that time. That was how I felt about procrastination. It even got so bad at a point, I said to myself that, Abi, my village people are about to get to me. I mean, it was like that. So I had to deliberate and decide and take actions towards changing things. So the thing about procrastination, I go to my slide straight up, so that I don't take a lot of time. So first off, I'd be defining procrastination. might seem basic, but then let's understand what procrastination is. I'll be reading from the English dictionary. It defines procrastination as the act of postponing, delaying, or putting off, especially habitually or intentionally. Now, this is something I like about this definition is the last two words that says habitually or intentionally. For some people, procrastination has become an habit that's even unconscious. You just unconsciously move or delay tasks, and then you just I beg, I will do it later, that kind of thing. So, and then there are people that intentionally just move stuff. Let's say maybe people that postpone their wedding this year because of, the pandemic and stuff. They deliberately decided to do that. So yeah, that's the definition I have. Now, if we look at my slide, I have a quote here from Tim Urban, who is a writer and co-founder at waitbutwhy.com. He says, everyone is procrastinating on something in life. There's something that you're choosing to do later, and there's something that you're deciding to do right now because it's more important than what you want to do later. So definitely everybody's procrastinating in life. But then there are those wonderful set of people that are procrastinating steady. Procrastination is their term. The tag on their head is procrastinators. You get. But regardless, everybody is procrastinating on something. And then a Nigerian designer once said, time still there. Everybody has done this on a project. Maybe some that there are some that are too good, but I'm sure there are people that have done this on a project where you give the client a deadline. You discuss a timeline of about maybe 2 or 3 weeks with the client. Let's say brand identity design, and then week 1, nothing. Actually, this is practically me. I'd have a task to do for somebody, and then the person would say, how far now, how am I work? I say, yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it because, design is 90% thinking and 10% execution. So I'm thinking about it. I'm spending time thinking. And then if you say, okay, have you started my work? I say, yes, I created a document already. So yeah, see, one of the reasons why people would procrastinate is that they have the illusion of that there's still more time. Like people feel that, well, there's tomorrow, or there's later, or there's 2 hours later. I'd eventually get to it. It's just that illusion that, well, there's always time to get that done. So is procrastination a bad thing? You see, now for me, what I think is what determines whether procrastination is good or bad is the reason behind it. Like it's the reason behind procrastination that decides at that point in time whether delaying your task. Maybe procrastination sounds bad, but whether delaying your task or postponing it till later is a bad thing. Now, for example, maybe like the people that had to delay their weddings or delay their events because of the pandemic. At that point in time, delaying it is not a bad idea because people were supposed to stay at home. People were supposed to stay away from events like that. So you get. So I'd move up to the next slide so that I can explain what I just said. Like I just said right now, that what determines whether procrastination is good or bad is the reason behind it. So I am defending procrastination, and I'd like to explain to this court that my client is innocent. My client is not the root of all of your problems. You get. So, like I said in this slide, procrastination is hardly ever the actual problem. That there's an underlying problem. Like there's a problem underlying procrastination. There's something more, and it's just maxed in procrastination. It's just maxed in delaying the task. So I'd like to hear from you guys. I take maybe like 2 minutes. I want to see your messages. Tell me, why do you procrastinate? Like, what's your problem? Why do you procrastinate? What's the actual reason? So I take maybe like 5 responses or something. Guys, let's discuss. Why do you procrastinate? Oh yeah, tell me, just me. Why do you think you actually procrastinate? I want you to see our responses. Oh yeah, you guys, don't be shy.
Good evening.
Hannah says lack of drive. That's a reason for procrastinating, lack of drive. Fear of doing mediocre work, yes. The fact that you can do it later, yes. mental stress, and sometimes overload of information. Yes. When it feels like there's much to do and I can't get a grasp. Of course, this one is strong. It's scripted. Let me say no vibe. When I feel overwhelmed, no creative inspiration. Netflix gang. I delay because of environmental factors. See, see, if we create a table for how many jobs that power supply has made us lose as creatives in this country, I'm a riot. But let's not talk about it. Fear of imperfection. We have fear feeling lazy or fear of starting. I'll be honest. Last of resources, feelings that you can do it later. Nobody said because the country is hard. Okay. These are valid reasons, honestly. These are valid reasons. So you guys can see with me that procrastination is hardly ever the actual problem. The problem is not that you're postponing tasks. The problem is that there is an underlying factor that is making you postpone tasks. Postpone tasks. So I'm going to talk about some of them. I'm going to explain some of them in the light of the things that I've experienced, in the light of the things that creatives around me have experienced. So I'll start with this. The first one that I have here, the first reason why people that I think or what I've seen why people procrastinate is fear of failure. Now, see, as creatives, I'll be honest with you. Whether you're designing, whether you're writing, whether you're making blog posts, whether you're sewing clothes or you're making furniture, fear is something that we'll all have to deal with. Like, see, that fear is mad. Like, sorry, it's just like I don't have words for it right now, but it's something that we'll have to deal with and overcome as artists, as creatives. Now, there's a book that I'm currently reading. What's it called? Art and Fear. I dropped it after this session. I dropped the names of the authors because there's two of them. Art and Fear. As a creative, fear is something like that you'd have to personally create time to investigate and deal with. So fear of failure, sometimes you're just afraid, like someone wrote here, fear of imperfection or doing mediocre work. You're afraid that this client is a big deal. This client is a lot. And I don't I don't want to come short. Like I don't want to do something that would mess up. I don't want to do a design or create something that the client would be like, this is what I'm paying for. Something that my primary four niece can do. I actually had a client tell me that, Mo Farabale. Sorry if you're not Yoruba. Mo Farabale. I did the design. Like I created it. I was like, wow, look at this, please, you made a beauty. And then the client responded and said that it looked like something that our niece could just scribble. I said, Jesus. So seriously, that fear is see, there I came for you. That fear is something that can hinder creative work, and it's something that can cause people to procrastinate because you just be like, if you do the work, finish now. The client might just say one thing or the other. So next, I have difficulty of the task. Like there's sometimes we take up projects and then you're like, oh, this project is nice. I'm interested. It's going to be great. Like, so much to learn on this project. And then you start the project and then you're like, I missed the tree for the forest. I thought it was a simple task. And then it becomes something heavy that you don't even know where to start. You're just stuck. And then it could just freeze or cripple you from actually working because you just think that, my God, I think I have beaten more than I can chew. And you just freeze. And maybe when the deadline actually comes and then you're just like, I have to deliver something because my rep is on the line. So it's another reason why people procrastinate on tasks, why creatives procrastinate on tasks. I just said this before. The illusion of time. Like you might be doing something maybe fun, or you're just chilling, Netflixing, or playing games, and then you just tell yourself that I'll do this stuff later. I'd start this project later, and then later when you want to start, NIMPA tells you that I got you, bro. No light, and then you exceed your deadlines, and then you have to start making excuses with your client. So another one is fear of judgment. Fear of judgment. Now, there's something I missed on fear of failure. Funnily, this fear is actually very, very something. Like I said in the beginning, there's fear of past failure. Like you failed on a project before, or you messed up on a project before, and then you have a new one, and then you're just like, what if I just messed up like the last time? Or what if this time around, so the client says they don't like the work, is design even my calling? Maybe I should just pass on it, and then you just freeze again, and then just delay. They ask you, what were you doing? And then you ask yourself, actually, what was I doing with the time? What was I doing that I didn't do this design? You can't find it. So it's another thing, fear of failure. Then fear of judgment. Now, this fear of judgment, this fear of judgment manifests in, let's say, exhibiting your work, putting your work out, letting people see your work. I'm on this table and I'm going to destroy it too. So when you want to put work out, you did a project, and then you just feel like, man, God, this project is mad. And then you just open Twitter, and another designer just post another project that they did, and then you just look at the project and be like, I think maybe I should just quit. Maybe I should just I don't know, start selling shoes and bag. Not to disrespect people selling shoes and bag. Not to disrespect them at all. We need them. But you just see their design and you just be like, okay, maybe I'll post this design later. And then later becomes never. And when you eventually come to it, and then you're just like, this design is obsolete, it's outdated. Maybe I should not post it anymore. The fear of judgment, the fact that people would judge your skills, that actually this person doesn't know how to design like that. You just delay on doing something like that. You postpone on doing something that is actually beneficial to you. Something like putting your work out to get more work. So, bro, sis, are you seeing yourself? I mean, you really, 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 really see that procrastination is not your actual problem. Now, like some people stated here when I was asking, that some of their issues or some of the reasons why they procrastinate is overwhelmed. Like you're overwhelmed with work, you're overwhelmed with information, you're overwhelmed with tasks, and then you're just like, man, am I the only one? So yeah, that's another issue when you're overwhelmed with tasks, and then you're just like, you even delay the ones that are important and do the ones that are not important. At that point, you just want to get your table clear. You're doing the ones that are easy. You're doing the ones that are they're just head on. You just do whatever it is. Like that's that point you just say, I can't keep myself. Like Yoruba people, me with waku. So yeah, that's another reason why people procrastinate. They're just overwhelmed. They just have a lot to do, and they just legit delay on other tasks. And sometimes it's valid because you take the important ones and then you delay on the ones that are not important. Yeah, but that's basically another reasons why people procrastinate. Then this particular wonderful group of people that procrastinate is the set of people that have more than enough time. Like the time is plenty. And then you just like, I'll do it later because it's not like I have a lot of things to do. So yeah, I'll just do this one later. So there's that class of people that the time that you have is just abundant. It's not like you are doing a lot of things. I mean, basically, you have just one project in a month, or maybe one essay to write, or one article to write, or maybe one book to read. And then just like, duh, I have more than enough time. And then you just say, this movie is out. Let me just watch it or something. We get like things like that. So you guys, when you realize or when you catch yourself delaying on a lot of important tasks and you're just there, you're just doing nothing. I mean, your clients are moving on from you. it's as if the world is moving on from me because people are just doing their thing. You're seeing people on the TL, they're posting their work, they're updating that I'm learning this, I'm learning. And you're just like, was I even born? Like, am I even alive? That kind of thing. You just have to catch yourself and say, okay, why am I actually procrastinating? Because procrastination is not actually the problem. I'd say, why am I procrastinating? Okay, problem why I'm procrastinating is that I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I'll fail. Okay, yes. So the issue is fear of failure. What's next? How do I deal with the fear of failure? Do I talk to somebody? Do I go Nike on it? You get things like that. So it's really up to you to decide, like, honestly. Procrastination is not your problem. And then I'd even kind of give you this example, this one example of why I procrastinated on a project. So a client came to me with a brand identity design in about, let me say June. No, June is on early. I think they came in April with a brand identity design, a logo design project for a finance company. And I was not really excited because I didn't know it was that at the beginning. The client was just being so secretive and all. They were just like, okay, we have this project and they need it's a brand identity project, but I need they decided on a color. They just needed me to do a variation of the color. So I said, okay, I sent that. I didn't think it was a brand identity project at that time. They just said they needed a color scheme. I said, well, fine. Since it was a repeating client, a client that I'd done work for before, I was just like, okay, fine. Let me just send that. Then later on, maybe like a month later or some weeks later, the client came back and said, okay, they needed a stylescape and wanted to do a brand identity design. I was like, okay. I did the stylescapes. I was actually on time with that. Funnily, I did stylescapes. I sent it. They made corrections. I sent them back. So after sending the stylescapes, this client did not say anything to me again. They didn't message me. I don't know how long it took, maybe like a month or some weeks more. And I was working at the office, so I didn't really check on them or something. Then all of a sudden, out of the blues in July, this client just messaged me and say, they've approved stylescape. The project is ready. You have 1 week. I was like, yo, calm down. Like, I didn't get it. Like, 1 week to finish this brand design. Are you kidding me now? My head was just like, it's film trick. So 1 week passed. And then the client was like, I've been waiting on you. Where's the mail? Where's what's up? And then I'm like, well, you were serious? Well, you were serious about this project? Oh, more. And the client was very angry. The client was very mad. I was like, wait. I said we are ready for this project and you didn't do it or anything. So I just had to apologize, send a mail, call, and then tell the client that you should please extend for me maybe like a week more. And then the client agreed, and then okay, we decided. Do you know that 1 week I spent, like, 1 week is 7 days, or maybe I had like 6 days. I spent about 4 or 3 days just worrying about the project. Like, that was all I did. I was just worrying that, hey, I don't have new ideas. The ideas that I have, they're so cliche. What am I going to do? And then I just had to meet a friend of mine and then talk, and then just said, oh, why don't you try this? Why don't you try this and that? And then I applied it and I finished the design in about 2 days, 2 or 3 days. I think it was 2 days because it was such a short time. And I sent it to the client and they loved it. So at that time, the only reason why I was procrastinating was because of tension, worry, and fear. So we just have to observe this thing about us. I want to share a law, the Parkinson law. Now, the Parkinson law states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. Work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. So the more you extend on a project, or the more you extend the time on a project or a task that you have to do, the more that project extends. Like, it might be a simple project or as simple as you finishing it in a day, but the more you extend the time and procrastinate on it, the longer time you will spend on it. Now, some people are proactive about this Parkinson law and they do stuff like create a deadline for themselves. So when the client tells them that, okay, the deadline is September 4th, they'll tell themselves, okay, my deadline is September 2. or September 3, and you get the work done before that time. So use this law to your advantage and to decide that, okay, for this, and then honestly, designers here, you guys will agree with me that there are some times that we tell a client that this project is going to take a month, but you finish the project in maybe like a week or so, and then you just be chilling. Or students that are here, you will agree with me that you will tell yourself that, okay, this is lecture free week. I'm going to read all my notes. I'm going to get everything ready. And funnily, what you actually do is pull an all-nighter before the night of your exams. I mean, there are stays here. All of us will do this thing. You do stuff like that. Like, we're plenty on this table. So yeah, really. You just have to catch yourself, like see the underlying reasons behind your procrastination, then deal with that. Then find solution to that. Don't just tell yourself that I'm a procrastinator. That's my problem. Nah, bro, your problem is not procrastination. You're just afraid. So I'm going to go to, because my plan was to keep this short so that if we have to rewatch it, you're not going to procrastinate and you're going to watch it ASAP. Maybe watch it while you're walking or listen to it or stuff. So next slide, procrastination. Now that we've seen the reasons behind procrastination, the actual problems that are masking themselves as procrastination, let's look at some tips on being proactive. Like, how do we deal with this stuff? How do we get an head start? Let's get a head start. Like, first thing I have on this list is self-awareness. Like, you're first human before you're a designer. I don't know if we go agree. Maybe that's how it is. You're first human before you're a designer. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to be aware of who you are as a you've got to be aware of who you are as human, the things that are unique to you, how you behave, like how you learn stuff. Like, all of us, maybe people that, sorry, people, no offense, like people that went that had to be in university or even secondary school, you know that there are some students that they were born in the library. Library is their calling. They read books in the library. After they read finish, they'll eat, they'll come back. There's some people that the room is their comfort zone. Like, they read in the room, they take their lectures in the room, and then there's no virtual learning, but they take their lectures in the room, they take their notes in the room, they learn in the room. I think there's some people that you just like to read in a noisy place, that kind of thing. You've got to understand what works for you. Like, you've got to decide that, okay, this is me, this is my personality type, this is how best I work. There's some people that they would prefer to have a schedule that is detailed. 7:30 to 8:30, I'll be doing this. 8:30 to 11, I'll be doing this. 11 to 12, I'll be doing. And there are some people that are freestylers. All they just need is to-do list. Today, I have one project, 2 articles to read, this and that, 1 article to write, stuff like that. That's what works for them. You've got to decide what works for you. And then this does not come about maybe like, it doesn't just eat you, it doesn't dawn on you, you don't need an epiphany in that sense. You've got to find out yourself. You've got to be intentional about self-awareness. You've got to be intentional about your emotional intelligence. You've got to figure out who you are, what works for you. There's some people that are not how do I put it, their strength is not social media. Maybe their strength is not all social media platforms. Maybe they're good at Instagram, or maybe you're a designer and you realize that you're not here for the Twitter drama. What works for you is Behance or Dribble. Stay there now. It's not everybody that Twitter is everybody's calling now. You get. So you decide what works for you as your personality. You while you're helping clients to solve their own problems, you've got to sit down and solve your own problems. Like, know what your problem is and find how you solve it. Maybe it's talking to people, or maybe it's doing this and that. You've got to figure that out. Next on that list, on my list of tips, is having a ritual. You have a ritual, a routine, a process, or a strategy. Now, this I would speak from my point of view about how this works for me. Maybe like for the routine, for the ritual. when I wake up in the morning, and I got this tip from Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's one of the resources that I will drop eventually, like on the last slide. Having a ritual in the morning, like when I wake up in the morning, I have some set of task that I do for that morning. I miss some days. In fact, heck, I miss a lot of days. But I know that this is what I need to be doing in the morning. So when I wake up in the morning, I know that this is what I need to do. And actually, I have a schedule that works for me. At some point in time in the morning, I'm doing. I don't know if we've heard about it. I'm doing deep work. Then later on, I have shallow work at the end of the day. I have what's it called? I have this time where I just relax and rest. I read or do others. Yeah, also as ritual. Yes, it's not blood ritual and it's not blood money, just ritual. So you have a routine, and then you can decide that. And then for the process, you can decide and have a process that, okay, this is what I want to do. This is like, for example, if I have a brand identity project, the first thing I do is after discussing with the client is research, read so and so, research similar case studies. Then next, I go into sketches. After sketches, I share with the client reviews. After the client reviews, I go with the final one. Or if the client does not accept any, I start again and sketch some other ideas. After that, I move into vector, into line work, into execution on my laptop. And you get stuff like that. When you have a detailed process, or maybe when you have a process of what you're supposed to do when you have a project, there's no what am I supposed to do now? Or there's no what would Liz do? You already have the things that you're supposed to do listed. You get, you already have a strategy, you already have an approach to it. You get, so you're not stuck. You're not just thinking, okay, what do I do or something. You get, so having a ritual, a process, or a strategy that works for you, it just gets you in the flow. So if it's a writing I have to do, maybe the first thing would be to create a document. Or if using laptop does not work for me, maybe the first thing would be to pull out a notepad and biro and start writing, or even to take a stroll, stuff like that. You've got to get what works for you and just key into it. So the next on it is use accountability. Now I see this a lot, maybe not a lot, but I see this on Twitter. You see people where they'll say, I'm going to publish a project on Behance by Friday. I'm putting it here for accountability. Some people will say I'm looking for accountability partners. Some people will just reach out to somebody and say, hey, could you help me be accountable on this stuff? You get, so use accountability. Get people that can hold you to your word, that can hold you to a task. And then I'll give this example. Recently, last month, I did a book project for a client. So when the client reached out to me, we discussed over the phone and we discussed on WhatsApp. After we agreed on the details and the nitty-gritty, she added me to an Excel sheet. Sorry, it's not Excel sheet, it's Google Sheet, sorry. She added me to a Google Sheet that had dates, that had timelines for the book project, and when things were supposed to be delivered on my side and on her side, because she was just writing the manuscript. Like, the timeline was already there. And actually, they have not done me well to miss the timeline because it's already there. And on specific dates, there were things I ought to deliver. And on specific date, there were things that she ought to deliver too. So those times, we just go to the Google Sheet and tick stuff up. Tick them off the list. So on days when, and then of course, I'm not a robot. There are days that I couldn't catch up. So I just explained to her that okay, I won't be able to deliver this tomorrow on Friday, but I'll deliver it maybe Monday. And then she said, okay, thank you for informing me beforehand. It was that level of accountability that it made that project one of my favorite projects this year. It was that level of accountability that helped me to deliver on the task. I mean, the client was impressed and she was okay and she was happy. I'm sure that's the kind of things we want to hear as creatives, not the client to be saying that this design should have gone to the printer. Where is it? Where is it, bro? I'm not sending the rest of your money. You get, that's not the kind of thing that we want. We want them to be able to to get their work. You're happy, the client is happy. Open a bottle of Coke. Okay. Next, we have on the tips, we have start small. This is another tip that I saw on Atomic Habits. Now, there's sometimes that we are ourselves, we overwhelm ourselves. Like, you bite off more than you can chew. So let's say that you tell yourself that I'm going to read 5 design books in a week. I'm going to read logo design. I'm going to read Design is a Job. I'm going to read another one by Michael Beru. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read that. And that's a lot. That's a lot to do. And first week, you didn't open a book. Second week, you read a line. Third week, you didn't go past a page. You already have to observe yourself that, hey, this is not working for me. I am not Hercules. I'm not Van Damme. So you start small with things like, for example, if you're someone that does not read a lot, you might start with something like, okay, I'm going to read a page today. Now, even something like a page sounds simple. Like, of course, that's a simple thing to do. So I'll just read 1 page. Or I'll read for 5 minutes. I mean, 5 minutes, it sounds fickle. I mean, I have 24 hours in a day. What's 5 minutes I cannot read for? You get. So you'll be able to start up on that task. I remember one time when I was having this issue, like this procrastination stuff, I was discussing with Victor Fatumi of 4 Canvas one time, and he told me that it was important that every day, especially if you have a project, every day you do something small that helps that project progress. For example, let's say I have a brand identity design to do, and maybe like I've not started. I'm not so keen. I'm not enthusiastic about getting started on it. I might do something as little as check out case studies. I mean, just scroll through Beyonce, just get inspired, or maybe think about it. Research on the key things. Those things are simple because I can just do it on my phone and I can do it lying on my bed, or I might just pull out my sketch pad and draw something small. An idea, or create a document, sketch a shape. These things don't seem hard, but when you do them bit by bit, you know how people say that little drops of water make an ocean. How you do them bit by bit, they push towards the project, especially if it's a long-term project. If it is, and then it doesn't really have to be designed. If it's an exercise or an habit you're trying to get up, maybe like you're trying to drink water more. You might just do something small, like leave a bottle of your water on your table every time. In front of you, not behind you on the floor. Just put it on your table. I mean, when you're looking at it every time, you might just pick the bottle and just take a sip and just drink a bit. I'm actually on this table too because I feel like drinking water is like medicine. So I always leave water on my table so that I can just drink when my tongue feels dry. I drink, and then like that, I'm building a water drinking habit. You get? So stuff like that, the littlest thing. Before it was like I had issues with delivering client projects, and then I figured out that one of the issues I had was that I didn't have a table and a chair, so I designed on my bed. And when I'm done designing, I don't want to leave my laptop on the floor so somebody doesn't step on it. So I always put it in my bag. Then when I have to do another thing on my laptop again, I'm not so eager to reach out to my bag, unzip it, pull out the laptop, press the power button, wait for it to load, and then open AI, wait for that one to load. It just seemed like a lot of process. So I invested in a table and a chair. My laptop is always on the table. So I just reach to the laptop, open it. You get? I had to reduce the number of processes, number of steps that I had to take to get into that task, to get seated at my table, to get into the flow of work. I had to reduce the number of steps you get. My table it has my laptop and things that I need for work. So I just sit and we're in the flow. You get? So you take small steps towards the goal, towards the thing that you want to do, that you don't want to procrastinate on. You get, and you get it going, like you get it going too. And then there's another one on the next one. It says set mini deadlines. Set mini deadlines. So I listed in the first in the tips before. I said that have a process. So if you have a process and you have 2 weeks to deliver on a project, and you tell yourself that by week 1 I should have decided on the sketch and on the style or the direction that I want to flow it, and by week 2 I would start working on execution and stuff and stuff. Set mini deadlines for yourself, like little tasks that you can finish, maybe like in a day. Say by the end of today, I should have read this and that would help towards this ongoing project or towards this thing that I want to do. There are people that maybe like they get inspired by seeing other people's works. There are people that get inspired by taking a stroll. You get just really, basically, do you. Then this last one, like I find this funny, saying being clear on the tasks you want to do and when. There's some people that sometimes we are ambiguous about the things that we want to do. You just say to yourself, this week I'm going to read. Read what? What is it that you want to read? Chauffeur Cambridge, or you want to read book, or you want to read tweets, or you want to read, I don't know, WhatsApp messages, or you want to read books, or you want to read articles. Be clear on the things that you want to do and be clear on when. What I just said now, I want to read book this week, is ambiguous and it's not clear because I don't have a specific task and I don't have when I want to do it. Because say that I want to read one article on Medium about design history on Tuesday. When Tuesday comes, you know that, I should be reading this article. Even if eventually your big head procrastinates on it or postpone it, you know that, yes, I said I was going to do this thing on Tuesday. There's a day to it. There's a when to it. You get? Now, underneath this page, I say here that the tips shared in this discourse aren't one size fits all. You still have to decide what works for you. I mean, there's still other tips. There are things that people do for themselves that work for them. You still have to figure out what works for you. I mean, I've gone through different time scheduling systems. I've tried different. And I think I've currently found the one that works for me, the one that I kind of work well with. I mean, it's still flexible for me. You still have to try these things out and then decide, okay, I think I like this one. I think this one works for me. I think I should try these tips. Oh, no, this tip does not work for me. You still have to decide that. I'm not a shrink. I'm telling you this thing because I suffer from procrastination too. I'm telling you some of the things that I've done, some of the things that I've experienced, and the things that work for me. I still procrastinate now because I told you guys already now, it's not a bad thing, you get. But I have to be clear on the things I'm procrastinating about, and the things that I have said now. I don't when I see that I postponed the task, I'm leaning on it. I ask myself, hey, auntie, why now? Why? What's wrong with you? There's no vibe. We must look for this vibe because the client have paid the money. Yes, so you have to be self-aware enough. You have to be so knowledgeable about yourself that you decide these things, what works for you and what doesn't. So guys, I think this is the second to the last slide. With all that I've said, I've come to tell you now that go and procrastinate with sense. Yeah, go and procrastinate with sense. Go and in your day-to-day activities, decide, what should I delay? There are some things that you shouldn't delay. There are some super important tasks, habits, things that you need to get done that you shouldn't procrastinate on. I mean, another rule applies here, the rule of eating the frog, eating the biggest task first. You don't procrastinate on the biggest, most important, most urgent task in your day. It's not allowed. I have a quote here from Steven Destablier. I read it in Art and Fear. It says, artists or people don't get down to work until the pain of working is exceeded by the pain of not working. Like, people don't get down to work until the pain of not working, the pain of working exceeded by the pain of not working. Like, when you don't do the work, there are some pains that are attached to it. Maybe like no money because nobody's gonna pay you. Nobody's gonna pay you to be watching Netflix or be lying around. Or the pain that comes from not working, like not having any work to show, or or just or just the sheer pain that you know that you want to share this, you know that you want to write something, you know, want to create something that people can relate, or stuff like that. That pain, people don't get to work until that pain exceeds the pain of working. See, working and not working both come with pains. Like, they're not both easy. There's the pain of working and there's the pain of working. You have to decide, which one do I want? Which one is best for me? Do I want to take the pain of working or the pain of not working? So I've given tips that could help us, that could give us a head start, that could help us overcome some of the things that we are dealing with. But I want to also let us know that your life may not change drastically as you begin to apply these tips. See, I'm not saying magic here. So your life is not going to drastically. I mean, what I just said, dealing with procrastination has taken the span of about 4 years now. I'm approaching the 4th year in my design career. And the first 2 years, they're bad though. No, they're bad, gone. But I still had work to do. I still had to deal with it and stuff. So your life may not change drastically. You might not have an epiphany and your life will just be transformed like when the beast changed to a fresh guy. No, it might not be transformed like that. But giving up or not trying is not going to change your life either. I mean, if you want it so bad, you still have got to try. Because if you're postponing the important task and the things that are important to you in life, bro, I know that you're not going to feel great. Your insides are not going to feel great. So you still got to try. You still got to figure this thing out. You still got to work with yourself and say, hey, Liz, I'm suffering with this. I've got to deal with it because there's more ahead. There are things that we need to get done. There are products that we need to create. There are people waiting for this product. There are people whose life is going to be changed by this product. So, hey, make the most of the time you have, the resource that you have, and start today or sometime soon. At least sometime soon. So yeah, guys, I've come to the end of my session for today. And if you have questions, I'm here for the next few minutes, as long as my host will allow me. And then, hey guys, pardon me. I like to say thank you to the guys at Àṣà Coterie. I'm so excited that I got invited to take a session at Àṣà Coterie. It's been sweet. Thank you. So guys, if you have questions, ask now or forever. I didn't see anything. And yeah, these are the resources that I spoke about. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Inside the Mind of a Master Procrastinator is a TED Talk by Tim Urban. Then you have The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg. Then Andrew Kirby, great guy. He makes great videos on YouTube about procrastination, about detox and stuff like that. Then the book I mentioned is Art and Fear by, I'm trying to check it for you guys. I'm coming. By David Bales and Ted Orland. Art and Fear by reading this book. There's the option of listening to the book via audiobooks. Like, they could read the books to you, and then it doesn't take long. I think it's not up to an hour, really. I doubt it's up to 30 minutes of the entire book in audio. So guys, any questions?
Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you for dragging me with like all the ropes that you could find.
I love you. The dragging is love.
Yeah, thank you so much for the session. Like, I have gained a lot, and I'm pretty sure everybody here has gained so much. Like, you've dragged every single one of us single-handedly. I don't know how you did it, but you did, yeah. So guys, like, follow Àṣà Coterie on Twitter and Instagram, and like you could subscribe to our YouTube channel so that when this recording is posted, because I'm pretty sure like me, like you'd want to watch this again. So when the recording of this session is posted, you could just like be updated and know. Also, please fill in the feedback form and tell us how you found this session so that we can know like areas that we need to improve on, areas we need to like be consistent on. We really appreciate that. Also, what else? Yeah, that's basically it. If you have any questions, like Liz said, ask now or forever. And then like she kept quiet. But yeah, if you have any questions for Liz, ask. Yeah. Questions, anybody?
It's like we don't have questions. Everybody's chopping their sword.
Actually, man, we have a lot to think about. I'm sorry, I have a question, sort of. You mentioned the scheduling app. What app? As I think you mentioned
said
that
what?
you use like a scheduling app. Like, what app do you use?
Okay, no. I don't use a scheduling app. I use a scheduling system. I'm a fan of what's it called, paper and biro, because I've noticed that the apps don't really work for me. So I just always write the things I want to do, and besides, I have a very fine writing, so yeah, it gets my writing like often. So the system that I use is I have morning routine. The first on my system is morning routine, and then it spans for about it depends on you, maybe like 15 minutes to as long as 2 hours. And the next is deep work. This is where I do the most important tasks of the day for about 2 to 4 hours. I prefer to do it from about 9 to 12 in the morning. That's if I don't have to cook my wonderful family. So deep work is in the morning, like from 9. Like it rhymes with work time when people resume work, like from 9 to about 12 or 1. It depends on how long I want to spend on tasks. Then next is regrouping on the scheduling system. The next is regrouping. This one lasts for about 30 minutes where I just sleep. I hardly sleep for 30 minutes, so yeah, it's probably more than 30 minutes. So, and then maybe I listen to a podcast or I read a book or something. I just chill. I don't do laptop work or screen work. Then after that, I do shallow work, which is not as heavy as the work I do in the morning. Maybe I just watch tutorials or the courses that I'm taking, and social media. Although this social media creeps into every part of the tasks. We all know this. It's the truth. Then after that, a relaxing evening. Maybe I take a stroll or I sleep because sleep is a friend. I sleep. And after that, the last I do is power work, and this just maybe the work that I'm here to wrap up. I just do a little bit before I sleep at night. Sometimes, if I don't really have a very productive day, I'll just spend a lot of time before I sleep, maybe like till midnight. Depends on how close the deadline is, and do a lot of work. So I learned this system from Debola Dijikurumi, one of her online courses, which is no longer available at the moment. So yeah, basically that's it.
Okay, I've basically written all of that down. Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
Mm-hmm.
Immersion. I don't know what this means, Liz. I think this is for you. Immerse in a circle. Like the person's asking a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't have any more questions, Abby?
Well, if nobody has any more questions, then
Hello.
hello.
Hello. Yeah, how you doing? Okay, so I have a question. Is how are you able to manage your work and your social media activities? Sorry, I came a little bit late.
Okay.
I don't know.
No problem. Hi, Shegun. Okay, so for work and social media, I think one of the social media platforms that it was very, very distracting for me was is Twitter. I mean, it's just so easy. You just open the app and you're scrolling. And sometimes you don't want to tweet anything, but you're watching videos, you're listening to people drag themselves and give hot takes and stuff like that. It was very distracting for me. So there's this app that I have that comes with phones. My phone is a Samsung phone, so it has this app called Digital Wellbeing. Digital Wellbeing on my Samsung, and I think iPhones still have that. So what the app does is, on the app, I get to time how long I will use Twitter for in a day. So at one point in time, I set it to 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, Twitter shuts down, and then it's not open till the next day. But because I really like Twitter, eventually it became 30 minutes, eventually it became 1 hour. And for recently, I couldn't like really get it off. So I uninstalled my Twitter app, and I've made it not so easy to access because I only have to use Twitter via web, like via website. And when I'm done, I log out. So what I did is also what is listed in Atomic Habits, where you make the steps to the habit difficult. Number of steps that I have to get to the app and to the stuff difficult. So before I get to Twitter now, I have to open my Chrome, I have to log in, then after that, I still have to log out. It's a lot of steps, man. So sometimes, but recently I had to really use Twitter because of this session and retweet and comment and stuff like that. Other than that, my Twitter will just be web. So for that, and then my Instagram, I don't really use my Instagram a lot. So my Instagram is still on my phone, but the timer is 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, till the next day. Those were the major apps. And then of course, let's say the truth, there's Netflix. And I have currently uninstalled Netflix on my phone because now if I still want to watch a movie, I mean, I would have to download, type in a password because it doesn't save the password. I've set it to not save the password. It doesn't save the password. So a lot of work just because I want to watch film. I beg. Can I sleep? So yeah, that's the thing that I've done to curb my social media. For WhatsApp, well, funnily, people don't really chat me up on WhatsApp unless it's work or gist or something like so. WhatsApp is not really big issue for me, basically. So Shegun, did I answer your question? That's how I deal with social media.
Okay. Yeah, you did. Yeah, thank you very much. So you mentioned like you spent some hours reading books. Like, does that have to do like with you plan into your work schedule or do you do it after work?
Okay, so I say it like this. There's some books that are easy for me to read, like African literature, some specific design books, or some specific books like Still Like an Artist and Show Your Work. It's not two of my favorite books. They're just easy for me to read. There's some books that I like that are easy to read, and I just read them as a stretch. I mean, I hardly put novels down, like African literature. I hardly put them. I just read them at a stretch. But there are some design books that you need to sit with, or there are books like Atomic Habits. I need to make jottings and stuff like that. So I plan them into my schedule. You get? Or sometimes when I don't plan into my schedule, when I'm just chilling, I'm just resting. I just pick the book and then I prefer hard copy because I can just take the book. But if it's my phone, I might pick my phone and say I want to read, but just all of a sudden find me on Twitter. So I take hard copy, and then with hard copy, I can write my beautiful writing on it again, and I can underline stuff. So that's how I do the book stuff.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Why I was asking this question is because recently I just moved to working from the house, and I find it very distracting. And I find my house very distracting because I have almost everything like connected, so I can just speak to my thing and I start watching Netflix and then so yeah, I think and disconnecting it has been like because it's just like a part of habit to me right now.
It's just quick. It's easy to access. Like, so you make it uneasy to access. You have to be conscious about it, and you consciously decide that nah, Twitter. And then there's another habit, the habit of watching movies when you're eating. This thing, It'll take a while, oh. It'll take a while, oh, but then it's something you gotta give up, because not really give up, but something you have to curb, because there's a lot of things to be done. So
Okay.
Shagun, we have
Yep.
a couple of other people that have asked questions, and I want to get to that question.
Okay,
So
yeah.
Caleb asked, how do you hold yourself accountable? How do you hold yourself accountable? Okay, I've tried different accountability, and I listed one that works for me. For work, maybe like brand identity stuff, or maybe like projects that I have with clients. How I hold myself accountable to clients, I just tell them that I'll send you this time, so and so, and I've already said it. If I do not say it now, they'll say I did not say it, so I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything to send anybody, but because I've said that I've sent it so. And then what I do is that I don't tell them, like if I want to be serious, I don't tell the client that I'll send it to you Friday. I'll tell them I'll send it to you 12 p.m. Friday. That's how I'm accountable to my clients. Another form of accountability is with my friends. I just say it out loud to them, or I just chat them up specifically and say, hey, I want to start doing this thing. Could you keep me accountable? There's a friend of mine. When I was having issues with a project, he's not a designer, but I was having issues with the design project. I think it was here on this chat. So I told him that I want to do this design, I want to do it so and so day. This person practically carried he carried it on his head and was like, have you done it? Have you sent it? I'm like, guy, calm down. This is not the same. He said, have you sent it? Like, it was practically on my neck. Even me, I was like, why did I even tell this person? They hold me accountable. So yeah, that's another way I hold myself accountable. And another one, I think the one that works for me majorly is telling people. Tweeting it or saying it online, I don't really work for me, because I mean, I've done challenges online and I've stopped. So people is my accountability method. People are my accountability method. So Okpa is asking, hello Lee, so here goes my question. On overcoming procrastination, do you use, yes, Okpa, I use the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique is amazing. Like, and then I use my phone for the Pomodoro technique. So I don't even really reach out for my phone. Guys, the Pomodoro technique is a technique that how do I explain it? It's a technique that is sort of like a timer that helps you do your work in time bits of about 25 minutes, and then you rest for 5 minutes. You do another one for 25 minutes. If you do it 4 times, then you rest for 15 minutes. So the joy of seeing like more than 11 pomos, or maybe like 4 pomos for a day, is just enough for me. So I use the Pomodoro technique, and it has helped me being productive, because my phone, I use the Pomodoro app that I use is called Focus to Do. So when I just turn it on and it starts reading, I don't have to use my phone because it's full screen. Like, even if I get notification, unless it's priority, I might not open it. So the way my phone is just, and you read, like, you guys, the way it rings, I just like it. So I use the Pomodoro technique when I can. So yeah, I use the Pomodoro technique, and it's lovely. I use it especially when I'm doing deep work, because I don't want to reach out for my phone for stuff. Yeah. Any other question? Okay, so guys, we don't have any more questions, yeah? Okpe, I hope I answered your question. Okpe Akimbo. Okay, Okpe, shoot. Ask a question. Yeah, Okpe, you can ask your question via audio, so that it looks like typing is taking a while. Okay, you can also type it in. Okay, Okpe Akimbo. I don't have speed reading tips. I just read at my pace, honestly. I read at my pace. I read at the pace that works for me. Sometimes it's very slow, and sometimes, especially Atomic Habits, I can't count the number of times I've gone over that book. I just read some things over and over again. So I don't have speed reading tips. I just read And then that's another thing. I read how it works for me. How best I read is when I read, I jot inside the book, like the hardcover book. I underline, write, write how it applies to me inside the book. So that's how I read, especially a hard copy book that I like so much. So yeah, I don't think I have speed reading tips. I just freestyle and read at my pace. Okay, and what's visual regression? When I read the same line 10 times, well, I don't know if I've had to really deal with that. But when I read the same line a lot of times, it probably is showing that I'm not grasping it, or maybe I'm reading to repeat to get it into my memory. But when I'm reading the same line over and over, maybe because I'm not understanding, I'm not grasping it. Honestly, I just close the book and move on, and maybe come back later. Or in this case, I don't do it. Or maybe it's something you could try. Is maybe get the audio version of the book. Maybe hearing somebody read it to you might help you to grasp it better. But when I don't grasp a book, I honestly just close it and go do something else. And then I can come back to it again. Yeah, according to Busayo, Elevate app is a really good app. Really, it's really nice. It's a nice app, and the games are fun.
Okay. So I think that's all we have for today. Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you once again for the session. We're looking forward to having you for another session because you need to sit down if I'm going to ever do anything.
And I'm so glad you guys invited me for the session. I loved it too.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for attending.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yeah, once again, so like if you haven't already, fill the feedback form. At the end of the feedback form, you would find the slides to her session, and like follow Àṣà Coterie on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can be updated when her like this session recording is posted online. Yeah, so we have officially ended.